Good afternoon, everybody. Are your food deliveries sabotaged? Mine are. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. It is April 6, 2023 at 12:18 p.m. And yes, today I received my Misfits Market delivery. I order, pretty much every week. And I would say for the last 2 months, every delivery has been sabotaged. Whether it is the criminals that are working within the organization intentionally packaging things incorrectly, or Federal Express, who have their perpetrators around the country, who have a list of individuals that they want to sabotage the food. So my box arrived open, sliced from underneath. And this is a tactic these criminals use. They slice it underneath to not disturb the printed label, and then they did not close up the box. There was no cold pack in it, and salt that I ordered was sprinkled all over the food. I don't know if anything worse was done to the box, the food that was packaged, so I returned everything for credit. But in case this happens to you, please leave a comment down below. These are crimes against people. I should not have to worry about my food being tampered with when I order it from another company. There should not be Freemason losers working in all of these agencies to do their little silent hit, silent dagger to people that they don't like. Well, too bad. There are a lot of people I don't like, and I ignore them. I don't want to sabotage their lives. I have no interest in sabotaging your life. Everybody has the right to live their own lives and do as they please. And if you don't like it, well, too bad, little narcissist losers. Grow up. Get a life. What do you do for a living? What do you tell your mom what you do for a living? Oh, I go to work every day and I sabotage people's lives. I play with their food. I tamper with their food. I harm their pets. I break into their houses. Oh, it's so much fun, Mom. You raised me so well. You raised me to be a criminal perpetrator. But I digress. And I want to send an apology to Jeff. I was under the impression that I already discussed the Restrict Act, the proposed Restrict Act, and I did not. What I did do is I discussed it individually with people via email, and I never did post it to my channel. So we're going to talk about it a little bit now, and here it is, folks. It is the proposed Restrict Act, and it's not just about restricting TikTok, folks. It's not about TikTok. So the opinions on the internet can be misleading. You may have heard a near universal cheer for the forthcoming federal ban of video sharing app TikTok. Well, put away that champagne and poppers. The so-called ban TikTok bill is a lot more insidious than one may realize. Of course, we all know this. TikTok is an insanely popular video sharing site that is available and primarily used as a mobile phone app. It is disliked for a variety of reasons, and the users often overwhelmed by endless deluge of cringe memes and terrible misinformation that spews from the service. I don't necessarily see it this way, folks. I'll give you my opinion later. It is also believed that kids find it even more addicting than video games or frosted sugar bombs. Oh, they're admitting to it. And it consumes an immense amount of bandwidth on your networks. That's a problem, folks. None of those are why the U.S. government wants to ban it. The real problem with TikTok is that it is made in China, and our government thinks that it's a security hazard. Well, folks, I listened to the testimony of the CEO, and it's actually in Singapore. So that's what his testimony was. So the GOV believes that TikTok is harvesting information on millions of Americans for untoward purposes. It is true that TikTok, despite initially claiming otherwise, does send large amounts of data overseas. However, the potential risks are unclear. And the CEO mentioned that he's more than happy to have Americans oversee the data warehousing. So we don't allow other companies to do this, right? We need to have our noses in every damn thing. So ultimately, the problem is not the data banning of TikTok. The problems comes in with all the other powers that this bill gives the GOV. It's Senate Bill 686, formerly known as the Restricting the Emergence of Security Threats that Risk Information and Communications Technology. Oh my goodness, that is a mouthful. That acronym is Restrict Act. The act gives the GOV ridiculously wide-reaching powers with little oversight. Well, this is not anything new, folks. There's been no oversight for decades. This allows the GOV to control and censor information and imposes heavy penalties on people that attempt to avoid these powers. Wow, you know, folks, this is just insanity. What's wrong with freedom of speech? Does it offend somebody? Does it piss somebody off? Oh my goodness. Well, these little egotists, they need to seek therapy. Perhaps they're being paranoid. Right? Maybe they're paranoid. Or maybe these powers that be are schizophrenic, folks. Restrict is led by Mark Warner. He's a Democrat in Virginia, and John Thune, a Republican in South Dakota. And the bill is deliberately broad in scope. That's always the case, folks. It is written with the stated intention of protecting American citizens from malicious software and telecommunications products deployed by overseas entities. But they don't mention anything about the underseas entity, like the US of A, the surveillance state here. It's not protecting us from those criminals, right? So they're saying that it's linked to foreign adversaries. And I won't go into naming them. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries that you can imagine who they are. Unfortunately, due to the vague language in the bill, it could apply to almost any internet connection between a U.S. citizen and those countries. That means you could be breaking the law if you're browsing the web and hit a link to I'm not going to say the words. Likewise, if you watch TikTok videos after the ban, you could face criminal charges for doing so. Wow, you know what? There are pedos and serial rapists and murderers and cyber stalkers running loose, and they care whether or not you click on TikTok videos. Oh my goodness, what's this world coming to? In general, the Secretary, in consultation with the relevant executive departments and agency heads, is authorized to and shall take action to identify, deter, disrupt, prevent, prohibit, investigate, and otherwise mitigate, including by negotiating, entering into, or imposing and enforcing any mitigation measure to address any risk arising from the covered transaction by any person or with respect to any property subject to the jurisdiction of the USA, and the Secretary determines. Wow. So, you know how that works, folks. Like, if you speak out at a board meeting, you are a domestic terrorist. If you piss off somebody, you are a domestic terrorist. If you disagree with the narrative, you are a domestic terrorist. If you invent something that saves money for the USA, you are a domestic terrorist. If you promote alternative healing methods, you too will be taken out by the GOV. That's right, folks. It's called the Restrict Act for a reason. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Welcome to Dystopia. Welcome to the, I can't even say it, it begins with the letter N and ends in the letter I. America. Sayonara.